But now transitioning, I guess, walk me through that. Like, how was the process when you did turn a profit and like actually start picking up success? And
Yeah.
like, what did that look like? Were you running the same leads? I guess walk us through what that looked like for you, bro.
Yeah. So it was actually pretty cool how it all happened. It was like all at the same time. Not only did my sales process start to kind of to turn into the good to where I didn't, need to look at a roadmap anymore. I started to actually logically make sense to where I started to apply my door to door, I think you would say, where I was like starting to understand like, oh, I know the product. I know how to do the application. Now I just focus on talking to the client. Once that started happening, that's when we started to actually work with you guys. And I literally have a big customer sheet with all the drop down on if they were final expense or vets or what they were. I never sold vets like ever. And I heard one of my friends selling a vet from like on Phoenix that we have, and I was like, man, that sounds good. Like I was like, okay, like man, he's not even really using like any tonality, like he's just straight to the point. And so then I was like, okay, like that's pretty cool. So I tried some vets out and I was like starting to like this. Then it clicked for me. I'm like, I just gotta talk to him like they're my dad because my dad's a 62-year-old vet.
Hey,
And
okay,
so
okay, yeah.
it clicked. I started my ad spend with you guys, my campaigns and stuff, and started buying leads with y'all. And it was history from there, man. I became so profitable so fast. It was like I never even want to touch one of the fixed income final expense leads again, man. Like vets is like born and raised what I live at this point. It's all I dial. and
Yeah.
it's take my profitability from, like to be honest, man, like maybe like two or ROI is like, just times everything by two, to now it's like, 8, 10, 12 sometimes. Like it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Dude, I think it's really cool to see like what happens when people transition lead types with the same skill set, man.
Yeah,
It's like, yo, you're putting in the same amount of time and your ROI is significantly bigger because you're
exactly.
talking to a different demographic.
Exactly.
You, can
Yeah.
you can you explain to the agent who's like trying to transition from filing expense to veteran, like why is that and like what does that look like if they're trying to get from like I kind of want to
Yeah.
get in that same boat. What does that look like and what can they expect?
Yeah, I'll give you like one thing right off the bat is that you got to realize that vets are super to the point. They're direct. So the first thing I learned is I'm not speaking to Miss Betty anymore, who's like, "Oh, Miss Betty, like what would happen if?" No, it's a logical sale now. Everybody talks about life insurance being an emotional sale. To me personally, for veterans, as long as I can get me and that guy on the same page the whole time,
Mm,
he already has his why. So I bring that why up, I find out what he needs it for, and then I just connect all the dots for him. So I'm a little more assertive, I'm a little more downtoned, I'm a little more like get to the point, but it's all out of respect. And the moment he respects me, like it's like boom, like he trusts me now. And that was the biggest switch for me, is turning it from like all these emotional questions to more so like, nah, vet just wants to get to the point. He wants to protect his family and get it done. Like it's actually that simple. You
here,
bring
here.
that type of urgency to them, like man, that was the click for me. That's what I mean by I had to imagine talking to my dad. It's like, no, I'm teaching my dad life insurance. He just wants it to the point. So that's the first thing. And the second thing that's increases profitability if you're ever scared to take the step into vets. These guys' budgets are way up there. I mean, you got to think that the government pays them monthly. A lot of these guys, and so rather than helping, dealing with somebody who's like, "Oh, keep me under $50 a month because but I only make 1,100 a month." A lot of these vets don't have mortgages anymore. They've paid everything off, and they're bringing in like anywhere between 3 to 10, sometimes $1,000 a month. So you can imagine how much bigger their budgets are. So if they like you and they got a big budget, retention is like your persistency is already better. So you're writing better business with a more direct sale. And those two alone, I mean, then you just get better sales. And then and then
Yeah.
you're just your profitability starts to go up. But those are the two big things I would say. Is it's just more direct, and then they have higher budgets, which is awesome.
Dude, 100%, bro. Well, I'm pretty sure I did share this when we were at dinner, but I think about it all the time. I'm like, when I sold, it was final expense and mortgage. The IUL
Yeah.
wasn't really popping. Veterans were not a thing. I'm like, yo, if I was selling now, I'd probably do mortgage and veteran. But then as time's going on, especially if we start generating leads, I'm seeing how profitable people are. And then
Yep.
I know with how I sell, I'm like hyper direct. Like I don't really enjoy anything emotional at all, relatively. And I'm like, yo, this makes so much sense. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. But with that being said, let's just transition into that. Let's start from the top. You broke down a few things, but I guess walk me through. Let's start with like, we'll go, I guess, segment by segment, and I can really let you flow if you want to.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to know, brother, like, what's your whole one philosophy? of the sale? And what is
Yeah.
your actual psychology of the sale from intro to close? And you can just kind of take the
Oh
floor from
man.
however
Dude,
long.
I love this, man. So man, I'm so technical. Like I love the psychology of a sale. I could write on a whiteboard for hours teaching people like stuff like this. So for me personally, I got a roadmap that I give all my new guys. I'm like,
Mm,
hey, I'm giving you a roadmap, not a script, because I believe you got to learn how to fail. And I can give you the bullet points, but you got to learn what to say. Like, I'm not going to give you a word for word because you're going to sound like a robot, right? So
right.
my philosophy is going to go right into what I just basically told everybody is that everyone sees life insurance as an emotional sale. And I believe there is emotion involved, but like, I think it's played into too hard nowadays because that person who I'm going to sell, they bring the emotion already. My job is just to, because think of it like a confused prospect never becomes a customer. You know, like
Right.
the moment someone's confused, they don't buy. So my job as a doctor-patient relationship, I'm not here to sell them anything. I'm just here to diagnose them and solve their problem. My job is to connect all the dots everywhere in the roadmap. Get them to trust me, get them to find their why, pinpoint exactly what the insurance is for, tell them why I specialize with them. I do things to where it's like we're on the same page. I'm not moving on until we both agreed we're here. And then we work together until we get to those options. And then I let them sell themselves. I don't hard close right away, which I'm going to break that down. But just to give you guys the idea, it's like everything I'm doing is just trying to make it blunt and simple. Like it's bland as life insurance. It's not that hard,
Right.
right? And that is my whole philosophy is that you make it simple. You keep them on the same page. You build the value. I mean, you ask a lot of questions because the guy who asks the questions controls the conversation. But through all that, once they trust you, it's a sale, man. Like it really is. So that's kind of my philosophy. But to break down like a quick roadmap, everyone starts with the intro.